Take me on a trip, I'd like to go someday. Take me to New York, I'd love to see LA. I really want to come pick you with you. You'll be my American boy. He said, hey sister, it's really, really nice to meet ya. I just met this 5'7" guy who's just my type. Like the way he's speaking, his confidence is peaking. Don't like his baggy jeans, but I like what's underneath it. And no, I ain't been to MIA. I heard that Cali never rains and New York's wide awake. First let's see the West End, I'll show you to my brethren. I'm liking this American boy, American boy. Take me on a trip, I'd like to go someday. Take me to New York, I'd love to see LA. I really want to come pick you with you. You'll be my American boy, American boy. La, 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 la. Will you be my American boy, American boy? Can we get away this weekend? Take me to Broadway. Let's go shopping, maybe then we'll go to a cafe. Let's go on the subway. Take me to your hood. I've never been to Brooklyn and I'd like to see what's good. Dressed in all your fancy clothes, sneakers looking fresh to death. I'm loving no show toes. Walking that walk, talk that slick talk. I'm liking this American boy, American boy. Take me on a trip, I'd like to go someday. Take me to New York, I'd love to see LA. I really want to come pick you with you. You'll be my American boy, American boy. La, 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 la. Will you be my American boy, American boy? Would you be my love? Could you be mine? Would you be my love? Would you be mine? Could you be my love? Would you
stay live.
Just a little bit. I'll never give you up. No, I'll never stop. Keep it coming, keep on coming for more. I'll never give you up. No, I'll never stop, baby. Keep it coming, keep on coming for more.
It's that brown man from Long Island and shores. Got away with women, so I get away with yours. Because your whole game's outdated. What leaves all the pretty women heavily sedated.
Mommy, you can play Ripley, so believe it or not. I shoot gifts like Heron with skills of Gil Scott. Nights like Celine Salat can get heated. Prescribing your vibe, love, I know how you need it.
I'll never give you up. No, I'll never stop. I'll give you keep it coming, keep on coming for more. Keep it coming. I'll never give you up. No, I'll never stop. Keep it coming, keep on coming for more.
I like to mingle sometimes, so I head out of state. Find a couple of dimes, but at a government rate. Can't settle for no nickels, even pennies for thought. For short, I need connections with big bank selections. Securing all the sections with sing corrections. See the like nature, escaping like gas. Tell me how long this love is gonna last. Thinking fast might spoil something, turn a whole week to nothing. Extra to your lady, you're special. Seen a bigger picture on the screen, but you're a movie. You're moving, you soothe me like holidays, getaways. The brochure said do it, so true. It's not a whole hand mission, cut the public display. Heard you headed for the stars, put the gazes away. 9 times out of 10, we cut to good friends. But when we on the 10th, we gotta go to length.
I'm not a player yet, I get more play than a talk show shown across the USA. Having moaning out the power sounds on we and I. And how? By now, you should know me and my crew members do members of the opposite sex. Have the boyfriend screaming out we got more text than that board team in Georgia.
He said he coming for
All because the hoe wanna go to the Casbah.
I'll never give you up. No, I'll never stop. Keep it coming, keep on coming for more. Yeah. I'll never give you up. No, I'll never stop. Keep it coming, keep on coming for more.
You can get with some of these women some of the time when your face is in the light that's stirred with lime. Is it a crime to set your mind to death, resuscitate it? See how many brain cells left. I feel your body's drawn to my positive. Don't even want it, baby, if it's that easy to give. I live right around the corner, 3 states away. Take a holiday, come check me. Watch how I set thee. Move, check a movie on the tube. Get your belt mad loose like leaf. Phones turned way down to avoid the beat or the question. If she's the only one getting left.
You into crime faces, huh? Well, I play a Capone. Susie Q got the grill to make the cake chrome. Situation getting it served hot on the plat. So work the format. See how we do that? Considering you figuring we love on the rock. I'ma keep it up front to maintain the stock. Displaying all the goodies from your knuckle and knees. Make it hot like the island degrees. Now that's special.
I'll never give you up. No, I'll never stop. Keep it coming, keep on coming for more. I'll never give you up. No, I'll never stop. Keep it coming, keep on coming for more. Never give love more. Yeah. Keep it coming, keep it coming. Never stop.
All right. It's all right. I'm here. I know. It is 9:24, and y'all know I don't give a damn. I'm going to get here regardless, one way or the other. But I'm here nonetheless. In the name of Amen the Supreme, the all-powerful, the one and only true Lord. In Amen we trust, in Amen we thank, and in Amen we continue forward forever. Good evening. I'm your host, the intellectual Lord, Benjamin Manhattan. This is Supreme American TV. And tonight I'm going to be discussing and breaking down why some people being deported while others are being imported into the U.S. You know, I wanted to touch on this when I was doing the I was going to do one, about why President Trump in the U.S. is letting in white South Africans, but I'm going to just pick up on this one where I'm at. You see, I'll just pick up on this one where I'm at. So, all right. So, for those of you, y'all been seeing all of the hoopla going on with the deportation and things like that. With they're putting out all of the Hispanics, the Latinos, and whatnot, and they're threatening of course, I mean, of course, the Haitians. I think they put some of the Haitians out. So, President Trump is on on an ICE raid frenzy, putting out all the illegals, deporting them up out of here, deporting them, just straight up getting them out of here. And I told you all before that the reason why they brought them here in the first place is to beef up the numbers of white people. Because, like I said, when these people come over here, a lot of these Latinos, these Asians, or whoever comes over into the United States, whenever they come over here, they always classify as white. Don't believe all that stuff on the census when you see Asian, Hispanic, and all that. No, or even so-called Africans. A lot of them people come over here, they classify as white. They go down on the rolls as white. Because remember I told you white means immigrant. White equals immigrant. All right. White equals immigrant and black equals indigenous. So anybody that comes over here from another country, they can classify themselves as white. Maybe y'all don't know that. Because originally the term white, which was it was created in the year 1651 in Jamestown, Virginia. 1651. Look that up. The term white people, was created in 1651 after the Bacon Rebellion, in which indentured servants and certain, indigenous bronze people who were in slavery, and certain people was indentured servants. They started fighting against the European tobacco and cotton farmers and things like that. There was a rebellion called Bacon's Rebellion, and they all got together and fought against the European colonizers who were setting up and establishing business here. And a man by the name of William Bleckley, Caucasian tobacco farmer, he and a bunch of other people, wealthy European Caucasian colonists who came over here, got together and formulated this idea of creating something called white people. That was basically going to be all Europeans who were in the Americas, especially in North America. And that was done as a way to galvanize Europeans by creating white people, right? That was a way to galvanize Europeans as a racial army, pretty much. They galvanized them in 1651 to be a racial army, because prior to that, there was no such thing as white people. There was no such thing. That word was never heard of before it was created in 1651 in Jamestown, Virginia. I might be a little off with the date, but I know it's in the 1600s. So going forward, they were, stepping up to become the ruling class here in America. And the indigenous people, meaning our people, were left on the wayside. Our people were left, and basically, they were putting quote unquote white people in the forefront and putting the indigenous people in the background, which became your black people, your so-called African Americans, falsely being called African Americans, and the American indigenous people, us, were basically put in a second class, in a second class tier in our own country. This is where all the reclassification started, calling us colored, copper colored, from indigenous Americans, copper colored people, to colored people, to Negro, to, black, and so forth, so on and so forth. But fast forward to today, where, like I said, they would let the U.S. government would allow certain people to declare themselves white. And if you declared yourself white, you pretty much had the backing of the government on things you wanted to do. That's why a lot of these government programs are given to foreigners, right? Given to immigrants. I told the story about how I was driving down some highway in the South of London, Georgia. I was driving, and I stopped in to get some gas at one of these gas stations, and I see a straight up East Indian right? Real a black East Indian with straight hair, right? He looked like he had the face of a so-called black man, but you could tell he was. You could see how his skin was, and then of course his hair is straight like the Europeans. So he was real dark. His woman that was in there, and so I decided to ask him. That was their place. So I decided to ask him. I said, how long you been here? We was talking, and he asked. He asked where he was from. He said like India, somewhere in India or Bangladesh or one of these places. And he said that I asked him, well, how long you been here? He said he's been there about 4 or 5 years. And I asked him about, how he just so happened to get a filling station, which if y'all don't know, the filling stations are cash cows. That's nothing but money. If you could get a filling station, gas station or anything, that's nothing but money. That's nothing but money. You see, a filling station is nothing but money. And a lot of these foreigners are enticed to get these business. They're given money by the government to fund, whatever they need to get these buildings, get these places and whatnot. And a lot of his money they don't have to pay back. But now prior to that, Caucasians, white people in the South, they had those filling stations and those, but over time, I guess, they let it go. And those filling stations and those the filling stations and the the convenience stores started being run by a lot of East Indians or so-called Eastern Hindus, which is why you see all these 7-Elevens and all these. But anyway, these people are put in position to have a financial background, a financial floor for them to grow from. That's why these people always got money. A lot of these immigrants they let over here. So this is the same thing now with the South African thing. A lot of y'all heard a few weeks ago that it's this rumor that was going around that white South Africans are being attacked. Now, the white South Africans are those Boer or those Dutch people that were over there in South Africa. They left from places like I forget what they the Dutch. They were, I forget what those Boer people, the Dutch, right? I forget where they Holland or some place like that, Holland, wherever they come from. But anyway, so they came over into South Africa and pretty much took over everything. Okay. They took over everything pretty much. Okay. And so now then they came into South Africa and they took all of the land that was producing and yielding and vegetation. They got all the best land. These Caucasians have all the best land in South Africa, right? And it was always been basically how these Caucasians came here into America is how the Dutch. The Dutch came over into South Africa and basically took over the country and took all the resources. That's the same exact thing that happened here in America with the Europeans, and they came over here to the American indigenous people, us, and took our land, took our identity and everything, reclassified us. But now they got this thing. It was this thing going, this rumor, or whatever going on over there, where you had this black president from South Africa, so-called black president from South Africa, trying to explain to Donald Trump that there's no genocide going on with white South African farmers. Nobody's taking their land. Well, first of all, that land belonged to the people of South Africa, the indigenous people of South Africa. That's their land. Okay, that's their land. You see, and their land has been. That's like if a whole bunch of people went to, bronze people, so-called black people, went to Italy or France or Germany and tried to take that land, they'd be in the wrong because you're trying to take somebody else's land. That land was taken from the South Africans, the people of that area, by the Dutch. And they've always maintained an apartheid system, a system of segregation that they learned from watching segregation over here in America. All right. They learned from watching segregation over here in America, and that's what helped fuel the apartheid system. And in fact, right, I wiped the camera already. I wiped my camera. All right. Anyway, so they created this apartheid system in South Africa, and basically the indigenous people of South Africa, so-called black people of South Africa, they living in squalor, they living in shanty towns, they living in ghettos in South Africa, same way our people live here. Whereas you got some of the best lands here in America, where at one time our people were like in Oklahoma, Tulsa, and all those places. They ran our people up out of there, man. A lot of these Caucasians came and took over his whole states where there's nothing but white people in Wyoming, Montana, places you don't even see bronze people at. And, that's just nothing but land that, was occupied by indigenous people at one time. So now, meaning us. So now, Donald Trump started bringing over these white South African farmers. Did you see that? He brought over a bunch of white South African farmers. Now, ask yourself a question: why is he bringing over white South African farmers when nobody's messing with the white South Africans? Nobody's bothering, nobody's killing them, nobody's taking their land, because that's the justification that President Trump was trying to use to bring over these Caucasians, these white South Africans, while at the same time importing them over here. And not just them. Remember that white lady that called a little black boy a nigger? She called him a nigger, and whatever, I think something else. The white woman who they sent all that money to after she called a little black boy a nigger. She's a European. She's I forget where she's from. Where's that lady from? She's not from America, right? I think she's from Ukraine or something like that. And she called the little bronze boy, little so-called black boy, little bronze boy. She called him a nigger, and I think they sent her all this money for that. Now, you're starting to see a lot of these Russians and Ukrainians and all these people coming into America, and I never hear about these people having any problems coming into America. Has anybody ever heard about these people? Oklahoma yet? Has anybody ever heard about these people having any trouble coming into America? You'll hear about you don't hear about Asians coming into America having problems coming into America. You don't hear about these people from Europe, Eastern Europe, and places like that coming in. You don't hear nothing about that. You only start hearing about it, like it seems like the darker the people are, the more you start hearing about deportation. Not that I'm sticking up for these people who are getting deported, mind you. We don't have nothing. We should not stick up for those people. As American indigenous people, as American indigenous peoples of the Americas, not African, but of the Americas, as Americans, as indigenous original Americans, we shouldn't be sticking up for anybody who's getting deported. That's their business. We need this. We're not immigrants. We've always been in America before the so-called white man. The copper-colored races who were found here by the Europeans in the 1828 Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of American. That's us, man. It was when they were making reference to Americans, they were making reference to us in the 1828 Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of American. That was making reference to us, the copper-colored races. The real color of our skin is not black. The real color of our skin. Remember, I told you, black is not a color. Black is a shade. Okay? Black is not a color. White is not a color. They're shades. Colors are red, blue, yellow, brown. Again, we are bronze skin people. Bronze, copper color. Our skin looks like copper. My skin, copper. Right? So they were talking about the copper-colored races, meaning our people in many different shades, the copper-colored people who are now being called black people, right? By the racist Europeans who were labeling us as second-class citizens. That's why I say, if you accept that you're a black person, then you're basically accepting second-class status behind white people. In order for you to accept that you're a black person, because your skin is not black, again, this is not a physical description, they want you to mentally accept the U.S. government and a lot of these so-called pro-black undercover boule Negroes. They want you to embrace blackness and accept blackness because that puts you beneath Caucasian people. When you accept that you are black, that puts you behind or under Caucasian people who go first, because there's no such thing as black people. When you're talking about reparations for black people don't exist. There's no such thing as black people. The people who had the land taken away from them was the American indigenous people, us. Not no Native Americans, Not no $5 Indians, $5 no nothing party Indians. We had land taken from us. We had it. But we still maintained over 20 million acres, which is now no longer the case. A lot of our land was taken away. But again, I asked the question, how is it that Africans had 20 million acres of land in America? That's not true. Americans, real Americans, had 20 million acres of land here in America that was confiscated by Europeans who are now calling themselves American. We are the original Americans, and the people who are trying to come into the country, like I said, the people who are coming into the country or who are attempting that, they're not white enough. They're not white enough, or they're not white enough for the U.S. government. They're not white enough. You see, they're not white enough, and they associate these people with crime and poverty. So now they just basically telling them people to just wrap it up and just going up out of here. Okay. You're not the right color. That's why you're getting deported, and they deporting these Latinos and whatnot, and importing these Euros. That's what you're seeing right here. They're deporting the Latinos, and they importing Euros. Donald Trump got the ICE going up after y'all, running y'all up out of here. Meanwhile, he's sitting down with a bunch of white South Africans, welcoming them into America. So now what's going to happen? With that infusion of what he thinks is that infusion of white blood, white genetic material into America, because they want to re-influx of Caucasians into America. They want to try to push Caucasian or white culture in some way, shape, or form, whatever they think white culture is. Like, you see me wearing this Superman shirt, right? Now they doing a relaunch of Superman. This is the new symbol of Superman. They got this guy playing Superman. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the movie looked corny as hell. The shirt looked cool. That's why I wore it today. And this is our colors and our symbol anyway. The red, blue, and gold is our symbols from the American indigenous people. But and the movie looked corny as hell. But the reason why they're relaunching this really, really white, this really, really white bread version reboot of Superman is because they're trying to reboot Caucasian white American energy into America. They're trying to inject that because a lot of that is falling away. A lot of that white American, white American immigrant energy is starting to fade away. And so what they had to do is induce or inject some of that European, that Caucasian nationality back into America. That's why you see these white South African farmers come here, and they made sure they went and got them real racist white people, because they getting these racist white people. They already up here calling black people niggas when they come in here. Let's watch from them. They coming from Ukraine, they coming from South there, wherever they can get white people that who want to come to America. The doors are open for them. The doors are open for the Europeans to come into America and become full-fledged Americans. You see, immigrants really, but the door's open for them. Okay, but for you Latinos, the door is closed, man. For you Latinos, the door is closed. For the Asians, the Caucasians, they brothers, the Caucasians and the Asians, the doors are swung right open for them. The doors are swung right open for them. But for you Latinos who thought you was white, who thought y'all was better than us, who thought we was some morenos and y'all gonna come into America and all that other, look, man, y'all can forget that. You can forget that. Y'all ain't white enough for them. You see, and you so-called Africans, they about to put a stop to y'all coming over here. That's about to stop. They ain't letting no more Africans over here. That's about to stop. So you Africans that's over here, y'all better just they're gonna try to blend in anyway with American indigenous people. These so-called Africans. They got stuff online where these Africans sitting up here. The Africans sitting up here. And they teaching other African guys sitting up here teaching other fellow Africans how to talk like American indigenous people, like so-called Black Americans. He's teaching how to talk like so-called Black Americans. You see? So let me tell you something. Our people better understand that they're trying to boost or reintroduce white white people from outside of America into America, because like I said, their birth rates are dwindling. Caucasian birth rates in America are starting to dwindle. More, they at zero birth rate right now, with more of them are dying and being born. So they're trying to reinvigorate that number. You see, they're trying to bring over the Euros to do that, but that's not going to help. That's not going to help. You see, because a lot of the Caucasian people here, a lot of the younger people, they starting to get mixed in with other races of people. A lot of them mixed in with Latinos and blacks and stuff, like so-called black people and other races. So, after a while, you're not even going to recognize what a white person is or Caucasian is. That's going to be mixed away. Just like what it was to be black is going to be mixed away. All right, you're going to have a bunch of mixed race people here. You have a bunch of mixed race people going forward in the future. America is going to be a real melting pot of mixed race people. However, it's going to be a certain group of people that's going to keep their seed pure. It's going to be a certain group of people that's going to keep their seed pure, and that's going to be us, the original indigenous Americans. The original indigenous Americans. We're going to keep our seed pure. We're going to have, we're going to separate our indigenous people, our people who know they are proud indigenous people. We're separating our indigenous people from those people who are, what do you call that? The black, that, or that what is that what was the thing they were saying about the fatigue, that black fatigue, which is really ghetto fatigue. You want to have proud American indigenous people that's going to step up and separate away from the ghetto hood black culture that has been permeating the minds of our people. That hood ghetto culture that our people are tired of, the decent ones of our people, the good ones of our people, the ones who want to cooperate and actually have a brotherhood, a sisterhood, have a real community, a real American community of American indigenous people. We need to become that again. The intelligent ones of our people who know we American indigenous people, who stop believing in nonsense that we from Africa on some African slave ship nonsense. The ones of our people who have acknowledged that we are American indigenous people. We're gonna, and that's happening. We're coming together gradually to have our own community, to network amongst each other, to pick up the pieces where our people have been broken in this matrix of chaos and confusion run by these other people. So keep this in mind, that our people are in a time of regeneration. We are in a time of regeneration. We are in a time of evolution. And we see what's going on. We know what's going on there. Ones who are in the know what's going on. That's why I had to come and share this with you all. I don't care about it either way. I don't care about what they do. I just sit back and watch, and we focus on what we do, and they doing what they doing. Like I said, I'm not against deportation at all. I'm not against deportation if people are going to be out here committing crimes, setting up gangs, killing people, and doing all kinds of stuff, coming here to commit crimes. There have been enough people that came into America that committed a lot of crime here in America. You see, don't need no more criminals in America. Don't need this place overflowing with criminals in inner cities and whatnot, because they sure not going to send them people to the Midwest. They ain't sending them people to the Midwest. They ain't sending them to them places like Wyoming and Omaha and all that. They ain't sending people to them places where all them white people are. They're not doing that. They're going to send them into the inner cities where they're going to be fighting with the bronze people, so-called black people. They're going to be fighting with you, competing for damn ghettos. You see, it's bad enough your neighborhoods being gentrified. Now you got to compete with some foreigners, some damn people that's coming over here who all they want to do is commit crimes. And I'm not saying all, but you got a lot of these people who coming over here, and like I said, they get caught up and they get hooked up into criminal activity. And so now Trump is treating them people like criminals. He's treating them people like criminals. You see, he's treating the people like criminals, and hey, like I said, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of space in which you know real um, real reciprocity. What's that? Reciprocity is being seen. Basically, like I said, they allowed these people to come into America. The Latinos and the people who now they turning on because the Democrats let these people in here. And now the Republicans trying to get these people out of here. Right? They're doing about face on these people. They talking about sanctuary cities. You got whole cities becoming disrupted over letting these people into states and whatnot. And like I said, it's causing a lot. And that's another reason why they deporting these people, because obviously when a lot of these people are going to places where there's money at, and where there's usually money at, it's usually you have affluent white people with money. So if they find out where affluent white people with money live, these are going to be the people who ain't got nothing. They're going to be the ones breaking in your house. They're going to be the ones stealing things. They're going to be the ones that you're going to wake up to, and you're going to see Paco in them in your damn ice box. You know what I'm saying? Or a Pedro and whoever else, they're going to be in there breaking in your house because they ain't got no money. They trying to eat. They ain't got no job. A lot of them ain't come here with no intention of working. I'm not saying all, but obviously they started committing crimes amongst white people in white areas, because if it was just a problem with so-called black people, they wouldn't care. They'd just let them fight it out. In fact, that was the thought and the mindset when they brought these people over here. But obviously they starting to go past their boundaries, which is don't go into the white neighborhoods causing chaos and confusion. You could go in the black neighborhood. We could move y'all in there and put 100 of y'all in the damn tenement. And next thing you know, it's y'all going back and forth. They could do that. But no. So, but I'm not gonna be on here too long. I'm not gonna be here too long. They have destroyed the land by killing the plant life. Yeah, all of that, all of that, all that, all of the above. Minutes we got. Yeah, so they just gonna be importing these people in. They're gonna bring these people in from wherever they can, because a lot of these places in Europe, there's nothing going on in a lot of these places in Europe. A lot of Europe is dead, so it'll be like reintroducing the Euro influence into America. You're gonna start seeing these people coming over into America because, like I said, they're gonna have dual citizenship in Europe, wherever they are, and in America. So that's what's gonna entice them. They're gonna fast track those people in, because that's why you've seen Donald Trump up there with the white South Africans. He's gonna fast track them in. They're gonna get their U.S. citizen papers. They're gonna probably get some farmland somewhere, and they probably want to bring in a bunch of these white farmers and whatnot, because a lot of the farm land is being a lot of it is being taken over by your Monsantos and all these other people. A lot of these farmers are abandoning the land. The USDA is not coming out, especially how they did the bronze farm, American farmers, how they did indigenous farmers. They did our people dirty, the USDA with the farmland. So now you're going to have a lot of the farmers. You're going to have a lot of the farmers that going to let the farms go under. So they're going to bring in, a lot of these white South Africans. And because they already got a lot of farms, they doing farmland. They got farmland. They got a lot of them got their own. They got their own community in South Africa with just them, and they farm land and do all the stuff they do. So, just keep an eye out for that. You're gonna start to see a lot of these Europeans over here, Russians, Ukrainians, whatever, and they're just gonna be, just blending in and picking up where the old racists left off at. I.e. the cave woman that called a little black boy a nigger. So, stay tuned for that. But that's it. I just want to say, we've been, going viral. We've been going viral with the video at the American Indigenous Street Music Festival. The video is going viral, and you know, we got a lot of positive feedback. Of course, you're gonna get the negative ones. We got the ignorant natives who don't know that the real American indigenous people, so-called black people, they're gonna fight that tooth and nail. So they got we got negative comment from them. We got some from the pro-black Pan-African goofballs, who don't know no history. So, they obviously think we just making up stuff, and all this proof that's out here. This is not even debatable no more. You can go on and Google all the stuff we were saying about who the American indigenous people are, what was the first drawing, and the first drawing of the American indigenous person here, and it's clearly a so-called black person, which you would call a black person today. So, it's so much proof that the American indigenous people, the real original American indigenous people of this land, are being called black people today, being falsely told they're African American. And like I said, when we did the festival, we wanted to make that our history known, embrace our history, our culture as American Indians. No more African American, no more black. But for those people who want to do that, that's fine. But you're not going to stop us from living the real truth, because y'all still want to live in a lie. Go and be African with your bad self. We over here, we Indians over here. We American Indians, American indigenous people over here. And that's it. So again, thank you all for support. I'm going to start the donation thing again, because we're doing it again. We're going to be doing the American Indigenous Street Music Festival again. We're going to be doing that again, and I'll give you the tentative dates, right? I'll give you the dates soon, but we're going to start fundraising early. So, like I said, those of you listening, those going live, throw $10, $15, $20 in there, and by that time we'll have the money built up. We'll have so much money built up, so as we won't run into a lot of the problems that we ran into at the first one. Even though we pulled it off and it was successful, we could have had a bigger turnout, which we're going to have a better turnout. When first one come, you do the first thing and get that going and whatnot, and you get the car cranked up, and then you get it going and you start moving on the road. So we're going to definitely make this happen again next year and keep going with this, man, so that our people have something to look forward to every year, so which is the celebration of our American roots. So check out the American Indigenous channel, Sister Enra Vanzetta. Check that out, American Indigenous channel. My wives out there shooting off fireworks. They ain't celebrating They ain't celebrating the 4th of July. They just, I had old fireworks in here, so they're out there with the children shooting off the fireworks and whatnot. And let them do it, whatever. So whatever. But that's it. I'm gonna close this out in the name of Amen, by the power of Amen. Amen we trust, and Amen we think, and Amen we continue forward forever. Can y'all like this video, subscribe, share, and also subscribe to my Mentellect Patreon. My Mentellect Patreon channel. Subscribe to the Mentellect Patreon, MENTELLECT. Subscribe to Mentellect Patreon. Excuse me, where you could where you'll hear the most raw and uncut, real, logical explanations on every and anything, every topic I speak on. Because what differentiates me from everybody else is that my knowledge, what I teach, Mentellect, is grounded in logic. I don't say anything that don't make sense. In other words, my teaching, everything I teach from Mentellect, everything I've been teaching since I started the Republic of America, formerly the Republic of Mentellect, ever since I started the community, I was bringing about knowledge based on higher intelligence, logical and rational things. My wife in, she mad because I said something about the fireworks. Okay. Okay, she's going to get some water. But yeah, I'm about to wrap this up. So again, thank y'all for your support. We're going to do it again, and support Mentellect, the Mentellect Patreon channels, the men's channel, women's channel, and the main channel, Mentellect Patreon. And man, listen, a lot of y'all go up here and y'all become members of my channel, and y'all sit on the sidelines waiting to see them topics that's going to interest you and, convince you to become members of the channel. Man, just become members, because I'm putting a lot of content up, man. I'm just ready to start just stacking up a lot of content on my Mentellect Patreon channel. So go and subscribe Ain't but $15 a month. Things on there I say I can't say here. So, but raw and uncut. But that's it. All right. Gotta get ready for my nightly broadcast. And by the way, my nightly broadcast is up there. My nightly broadcasts are up there on they up there on my Patreon. So we put our nightly broadcast up there. Okay. So that's my alarm go up. I gotta get ready for my next cast. And that's it. Good night.